Casey's Audio Vault.
Ryan O'Keefe from Airbourne.
February 1st, 2008.
G'day, Casey. How you going, mate?
Good. How are you today, Ryan?
Good, thanks.
Well, where are you calling from?
Roadrunner Records, actually. We were trying to get down to Canada, but the windstorms at the airport disallowed us to get there.
Okay, so where's Roadrunner headquarters?
Yeah, New York.
You've been spending a lot of time in North America the past little bit. Is there anything from back home in Australia that you wish you could get?
Yeah, VB, Victoria Bitter, where we come from. Melbourne, we drink it quite a lot. It's beer, yeah.
That's the main thing. It's stereotypically for us in North America, we always think of Foster's, but it's usually VB is the one that the real Australians drink, right?
Yeah, VB, Carlton Draft, or Melbourne Bitter. Yeah, it's actually pretty much impossible to find Foster's in Australia.
Okay, so then it is a complete stereotype.
Yeah.
But where are you from in Australia originally?
Originally from Warrnambool, a small country town, 3.5 hours out of Melbourne. We grew up there. Joel and I were born in Geelong, which is an hour out of Melbourne, then moved to Warrnambool, and grew up in Warrnambool up until about 3.5 years ago, when we all the band moved to Melbourne and lived in a house together.
What's there to do in the small town of Warrnambool? It's just football and rock and roll?
Yeah, it's mostly football and no rock and roll, but we were the only rock and roll that was going on in that town.
Do you have your own team out there? Do you root for a specific football team?
Well, on the Australian rules football, there's the Melbourne Demons, which is Joel and I's team that we go for.
You keep up with any of the American football? You going to watch a Super Bowl coming up on Sunday?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
From Canada, it's almost like a rite of passage for girls to backpack across Australia. Now, you're living in Warrnambool or Melbourne. Did you come across any female Canadian backpackers?
I actually did. In Melbourne, there was, I remember a couple working at a pub called The Toad. I can't remember their name, though, but yes, they were definitely from Canada, and they were very nice young ladies.
Yeah, well, we send all the beautiful ones over to Australia just for you guys.
Exactly.
Oh, is there like a heart of rock and roll in Australia? Is it Melbourne? Is it Sydney? Like where do you go? Is that why you went to Melbourne?
It's definitely Melbourne. Sydney seems to be more of the business side of things, and Melbourne is more the cultural rock and roll and all different kinds of music down there in Melbourne. So that would seem to be the perfect place for us to live for 3 years, yeah.
And you were saying that there's really no rock and roll in the small town where you grew up. Why did you end up rocking that place out? Like, where did this all start?
I guess because there was no rock and roll, that it was sort of a boost for us to aggressively, apply ourselves to playing rock and roll a lot more than maybe we would have done if we were in a town with rock and roll. We sort of felt like, oh man, is this it? There's no rock and roll. We love it and we want it, and we grew up without it on radio, and we want people to grow up with it on radio. So hopefully that's what we can do.
Your brother Joel, lead singer and guitarist, he called out Jet and Wolfmother for being phonies. How big are his balls?
It's funny that because we don't know where that come from. Actually, it's really kind of quite strange, that one. But yeah, no, Jet and Wolfmother are definitely doing great things for the Australian music industry in regards money wise and stuff like that. But no, Joel's not one of those kind of guys that mouths off or anything. Kind of strange how that one cropped up.
Yeah. Well, it went across like most of the media in North America, just saying that they're phonies, but Airbourne is real rock and roll. But what would you consider real rock and roll? Is songs about chicks, songs about booze?
Rock and roll is what anyone out there makes to their own, I guess. Everyone has their own opinion of rock and roll, I guess, and that's what makes it special to them. So I don't think there really is a one name for rock and roll. It's what you make of it and what you love about it.
And you must get a lot of comparisons to AC/DC, but that's mostly because everybody has heard of them. But who else would you consider to be Australian pub rock?
Oh, definitely, Rose Tattoo, Cold Chisel, The Angels, which I think we're called Angel City out here.
Yep.
Midnight Oil was also an Australian pub band, although they had a bit of an edge. And obviously the inventors of the sound, the Aussie pub rock sound that, all AC/DC and Rose Tattoo and The Angels all copied, which is the guys who really invented was Lobby Lloyd and his Coloured Balls and Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs, and they were the first to make that sound. Lobby Lloyd was really the first, I think, yeah.
Do you listen to any of the punk sort of side of Australian music, like Radio Birdman or the Saints or anything along those lines?
The closest thing to sort of punk that we would listen to would be The Living End. I would say they're good friends of ours. But they're more, I guess, rockabilly. I'm not sure how, yeah.
And I got to ask, how old are you?
21.
21. So you must have had someone with a pretty wicked record collection to pass down all these great old bands to you.
Yeah, we found our uncle's records in Grandma's house when we were little kids, and that's how we sort of really discovered the sound that we were looking for. And he actually wants them back, but I don't know if he's going to get them back. But yeah, no, that's where we found them. Yeah.
And what does he think of you guys now that you're really starting to take off in other parts of the world too?
Oh yeah, he loves it. Yeah, no, he's proud as punch. Yeah. Well,
you're going to have to bring his records back, or at least to replace them with CDs or something.
We will for sure. Yeah.
Have you been able to meet any of your idols? We're talking about AC/DC, Rose Tattoo, anything like that. Have you played with any of them yet?
Yeah, we have. We played with the Stones, Rolling Stones, and we met them, and they were good blokes. And we played with Motley Crue, played with Motorhead, and had a good chat to Lemmy about everything from rock and roll to chicks, and then definitely, and we played with Rose Tattoo, which was quite an honour. So yeah, it's good to get in the game a bit and meet the guys that were there first. Yeah.
There's rumors that there's going to be a new AC/DC album this year, and listening to yours, Running Wild, the new Airbourne album, you sound so hungry. You sound like the first AC/DC album. Do you think AC/DC's worried that there's going to be this resurgence of bands that are doing it better now than they can do now?
I don't think AC/DC would be worried at all. In fact, those guys, they did Back in Black, and that's their trophy on the top of the list. And I think those guys are now having a lot of fun with playing music and making music. And, there's no way that they would be scared at all.
You're signed up for the Rockstar Mayhem Tour, which is mostly a metal tour. Have you played for the metal crowds before? Do they get good response from you?
We have played to metal crowds, here and there. Yes, they love it. It's like... It's almost describing a Metallica concert, mixed with a Royal Rumble, I guess. It's kind of they really, I don't know, because they know how to rock out to metal, and I guess with Airbourne, it's one of those things where the front row with a good 4/4 beat and kick and snare, good guitar sounds, big guitar sounds. I think they really find themselves in a nice position to go absolutely nuts. And
one of your songs is being used for a theme song for wrestling. Are you guys wrestling fans?
Yeah, we love it. We're a bunch of Hulkamaniacs. The Ultimate. Always love the Ultimate Warrior, especially his theme song. I think it was it was awesome. That's probably where we got half our influences from. The Ultimate Warrior. Maybe I should pack on a few more muscles and I'll look like it. But I love wrestling. It's a fun thing.
Have you played the Big Day Out Festival?
We played that a couple of years ago. Back before we recorded the album. We only had we've just been touring around Australia, and we managed to jump on a main stage slot on that, and it went down very well, actually, yeah.
Did you hear about Rage Against the Machine played last week, and there was a bit of a riot, a bunch of people got hurt. Is that pretty a raucous festival? Have you ever seen, when you played a couple of years ago, were you worried for anyone's safety at any point?
We get worried for people's safety. We did there, actually, and I know Big Day has had some pretty bad stories in the past. I think they try and keep their safety up as much as they can. So it's quite, it's a bit of a tragedy to hear those kind of things happening, because I think, a while back there was quite a serious thing that happened, and I think that's why I heard the story the other day that the promoter came out halfway through the Rage Against the Machine set to try and calm everyone down. So, but yeah, we at our own shows. We've definitely, you feel quite scared for the people's safety in the front row, because, they go that wild. Like one of the shows we did in Sorrento, just outside of Melbourne, front row all have blood noses. The Hi-Fi Bar, the last Melbourne show we just did, a guy split his back open, and another guy broke his collarbone, and another guy broke his ribs. But, it gets pretty wild up front, so... It's quite. the crew guys try and do their best, and yeah.
And the guys in the band too. You guys in Airbourne must must get a few injuries as well.
Yeah, oh yeah, you know, there's always, Joel always gets a couple of injuries off falling off the top of PAs and stuff when he goes climbing up there, and the other guys, you know, they accidentally bash their heads and stuff, and my hands and stuff are always bleeding. I actually sometimes whack myself in the head with a stick and stuff like that, but it's all in the name of rock and roll, you know?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Ryan, for getting us on the phone, and Winnipeg really wants to see Airbourne live, so whenever you get a chance, please come through this part of the country.
We will be, mate. We are very looking forward to it. We're kind of bummed we couldn't get there today, but the weather is the weather, but we'll definitely be there.
All right. And before I let you go, I was hoping I could get you to do a little liner like, hey, this is Ryan from Airbourne, and you're listening to The Rock Report on Power 97.
The Rock Report on Power 97. Okay, cool. How you doing? This is Ryan from Airbourne, and you're listening to The Rock Report on Power 97.
And can you say, I see you've played Knifey Spoony before?
I see you've played Knifey Spoony before.
All the interviews you want on iTunes and at Power97.com. Casey's Audio Vault.
Casey Norman is Power 97's music director and can be heard every weekday from 2 till 6 in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Power 97 is Winnipeg's best rock.